moved the chickens out of this area behind our house, and it is now well on the way to becoming a new garden space. Wendy's actually doing this part with the light tilling and the landscape fabric. The plan this time is to leave spaces between the rows for grass, so we have more walkway space and her plants will be just easier to access. So you've started your first seeds today.
Yep. So I've got some red onions and some shallots and some yellow onions and some leeks, some bunching onions. It's really nice to have in just fresh from this garden in the springtime with things. And then I've got some collard greens. And then I've got some more collard greens, some Swiss chard, a whole bunch of arugula because I love arugula, some kale, and celery. And then I'll do some more sets of seeds tomorrow. And I'll just start to pack in here. So I'm kind of starting out with some of the earlier vegetables that can go in, you know, either a little bit before the last frost date or just right at the last frost date, you know, your more cool weather crops, because I want to get those in the ground right on time this year so that we have them. They're going to be in that back garden, and some of it might be a little bit crammed in because I planted too many kales and things like that, but I don't think they're going to get very big before it gets too hot and I'll have to rip them out. So we'll just see how it goes. I'll just keep planting. I'm going to plant some broccoli and things like that next. And then I've got some herbs and flowers that I need to plant because they take longer. So some things like some roselle and lavender, which take a long time to germinate and get big enough in the pots in the green in here. So we'll get those things started as well. It won't be but a couple of maybe a week or two before I actually need to start planting things like peppers because they take so long to get to size that they actually need to be started quite early. So
the peppers will go in the summer garden.
They'll go in the summer gardens.
I've got a plan for all these rocks. I'm slowly filling in this space with rocks as I collect them now.
Yep, there he's doing it. Took the camera down and he's all in her face. His battery's almost dead. Yes. Are you a big baby? Hmm?
Yeah, I know you're back of the head licker too, so that's awesome. Yes. You look so much like your grandpa. You look like my lightning bug. Yes, you do.
Good pretty girl. Looks just like Lightning Bug. Not quite as big of a smiley face on her thing, but she's still got the smiley face markings. Yes. Smiley face. Yeah, it's like a half smile. I do want to keep this stall shut for now, Brian, just because she was sick and I don't want all the goats in there until we can clean it out.
All right.
And I also want to make sure that we don't use this stuff that's in here on food. You know what I mean?
Well, if we want to clean that out, we can throw it out in the muddy patch.
That's not what I meant.
That way it just helps with the mud rather than...
I would like to clean it out when I get my flower garden up front started, because then I can do the rototilling and then dump some of this on here. Yes, you are a big baby. Yes, you are. You're a big baby. Pretty soon this whole room will be filled with things, and you know, since we're in here, look, Brian came over and was on my porch. Now he's in the front yard. Go out there.
Oh.
It's stupid. You could hear him piling. He was in my dirt.
He's an escapee rooster. Well, not really an escapee.
He's a mean rooster.
He's gotten super aggressive, so I kicked him out into the pasture, let him fend for himself, and he's been just eating bugs and having a grand old time out away from all the other chickens. But he's still hanging around. He hasn't been eaten by a coyote yet. Hey, that is not a nice chicken. That is not a nice chicken. What is your problem, dude? What is your problem? Better than RoundUp.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not putting RoundUp on things. I know a lot of people do, but it makes me really sick, so I'm not doing it. He doesn't understand what we're doing to his dog run. This is where he potties. He doesn't understand why we would burn his potty. Yeah, people don't generally go around burning other people's toilets, do they? Yeah.
My wife was careful not to burn too close to the house, too close to the propane tank, or too close to the wood posts. Progress on this backyard garden continues. Wendy's going to be planting through the landscape fabric so weeds don't have much of a chance to compete with her plants. The cardboard in that middle row is just temporary. It'll keep the ground a little warmer, plus Wendy can kneel on it when she's planting root vegetables. Root vegetables do not grow through landscape very well. I believe Wendy still intends to put in a third row over there. The garden prep work continues. Well, we've got all this extra capacity.
Yeah, well, right now, I need to clean this one off. And this one is only partially set up. This one is mostly set up. This one's not really set up at all. So,
as I get going, I'm gonna have to really set these things up good and get them plugged into work and make sure everything has room, and I have to deal with some of these things, like these are some figs that I bought on Etsy. So there's 2 ground turkey figs, and so,
We'll talk about the lime since it's right there.
well, that was on our porch last year, and I put it in here over the winter, and I've just watered it a couple times, and it seems to do pretty good. The lemon tree is also doing okay, although it didn't produce any lemons, and the leaves really dried up and curled a lot. But the banana tree, it really just, I don't know if that's died back or if that's dead.
Looks dead.
Well, things look dead when they're not, so we'll see.
We're in the sunroom on the front of our house, and Wendy was super happy about this because she can start her seeds in here, and it's a nice, bright, sunny spot. And we've got a little heater out here to boost things, and obviously these black things here are heat mats, and the lights to give them an extra boost. So we're giving them a good chance.
Yeah, and these are just, I think a lot of people think they need to get those expensive lights, and I have not found that to be the case. These are just LED lights, regular shop lights that are the brightest ones you can get. And I just put them really close to the plants, and they don't even need them right now because they haven't sprouted. But once they do, then I just keep them really close so that they're either just almost touching like that to the stakes, or just like this is fine too. And I let things grow, and as long as you don't keep things in here forever, they don't get too leggy, they work out just fine. And I started almost everything we ate last year from the vegetable garden in here, so.
The trick to take them outside so they can experience real sun and wind for a little bit.
Yeah, and on nice days it gets too hot in here actually, so I do open the windows on either side, and then they actually get a good cross breeze in here, which is nice. So like even just a few days ago, we had a day that was 74 degrees. And so if I would have had stuff in here, I probably would have cracked the windows a little just to let a breeze in, because it would get up to maybe almost 80 in here if you're not paying attention. So, and once it gets close to the last frost date, I need to be really careful that I'm opening the windows during the daytime, because it will get hot in here. It will be like 85, 90 in this room.
There's a chance that we might get snow
I know, and
in the next couple days.
I don't want to have snow. I think it's really just going to be more like a sleet snow, but we'll see. It's February.
You have one sunny 70-degree day, and suddenly you want to start planting stuff.
No, it's not that. This is how many days it takes to grow
Well,
things.
you're excited about growing stuff, right?
Well, I was excited to have a few days where I could get out and plow up some ground and have it all prepared nice, so that because one of the problems I had last year was not having the places in the garden ready, but I had plants that were ready,
Yeah, they waited too
a
long.
month before I had anywhere to put them. So last year, I only planted a few of the spring things, even though I started all of them. So I started all these same things last year, but they never had anywhere to go. So most of them didn't go anywhere. It was just a big waste because we never got the garden started in time for me to put those in the ground. And so by the time we got the ground ready, it was like, well, I'm already late planting tomatoes and okra and things like that. So I prioritized putting the things that we were just a little bit late on, so that we could at least get those things. And then, I threw in a few cabbages and things around things just to see. And actually the cabbages did pretty well. So I'm expecting to have really good cabbages back where we're gonna put them this year, hopefully. So
Missouri is a good state to grow stuff.
it is, and I feel like our little spring garden back there is gonna be a really good garden, just because we had the chickens out there all winter, and that ground had piles of leaves and old hay and stuff that Brian had thrown there.
A little bit of compost action.
And so it really, other than it being kind of rocky, it plowed up really nice and deep. So I'm excited about it.
All right.
Hopefully it won't burn anything though, because the chickens weren't on there, but a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we're talking early April,
Maybe it'll mellow by then.
it should have mellowed by then, but some of that, I think, maybe, in my mind, it always depends on whether or not you get enough rain and things like that to kind of mix things around. So it's one of the reasons why I was happy to get it plowed in.
Yeah, well, folks saw us just move the chickens, and then suddenly we're tilling it up and putting the landscape fabric down. It's like, no, we're not actually putting plants out there right now.
No.
It'll be a little while. So
Yeah, I just know that you need to do those things when you have the nice days, so that you can get stuff ready, because otherwise you're going to be busy putting your plants in pots and working on all that, and you're not going to have time when you should be getting that ready. And so I just know that by the time this room is full of plants and it's getting close to time to put things in, I'm going to be spending 2 hours a day just watering all this stuff. So I don't want to have to deal with that, because I have to deal with standing here with this little mister thing and filling it up over and over again and having this whole thing full and me going like this for an hour.
you can't just pull it out and pour some water into bottom feed?
I do a little bit of that, but because I put peat moss in here and this room gets so warm, it dries out really fast. So I don't like to just rely on it soaking it up.
Thanks for watching. Remember, your dreams are closer than the moon. Thanks for taking this trip around the moon with us.